A hastily convened special cabinet meeting on Wednesday. President Cyril Ramaphosa agreed that Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana should delay his budget speech until the executive reached a consensus on the best approach to increase revenue. Just 2 hours before the scheduled speech, Godongwana presented VAT as the most responsible option for revenue growth. However, ministers expressed their dissatisfaction. But for more on this, we are now joined by Newzroom Africa's Qaanitah. Qaanitah, so much interest into, what would have happened and been discussed in that cabinet meeting that led to this unprecedented decision.
Yeah, let's go through the sequence of events on Wednesday. We know that usually the finance minister will go to cabinet in the morning of his speech and present what is supposedly the final presentation, and cabinet would approve it. He would then go to the media and have a closed door briefing with the media before he then takes to the podium in Parliament. Yesterday, that sequence was a little bit off. The finance minister started with addressing the media. That's because there was a delay in this cabinet meeting. The president was delayed, in arriving in Cape Town. And so eventually when the cabinet met at 10 Haste in Cape Town at around midday, the finance minister put forward his plans, and the main elephant in the room was how would government fund its programs. The minister says to the room that there were multiple options on the table. What were those options, Naledi? The first was to increase taxes. He says, corporate tax and a tax for wealthy people were on the table, but that was not really desirable. There was also an option about borrowing more. But given South Africa's junk status, the finance minister believed that it would only result in South Africa paying more in interest, and that would affect ordinary South Africans as well. There was also the option of cutting spend, but by this point it was too late. And so the only viable option on the table would have been increasing value-added tax by 2 percentage points. Now, what did the finance minister envision that this increase would help the state with? He said that, when tabling his intentions to the cabinet, said that this would, possibly help government in ECD centers, will help the state retain doctors and nurses and teachers, will also help with government's plan to increase the rail network in South Africa, and at the same time for the state to provide above inflation increases to social grants. Now, these are massive demands. They come with a huge cost. And the finance minister conceded that there's obviously this massive conundrum that he faced. Where do you get the money from? But then at the end of it, when he said that the Treasury had resolved on value-added tax, it was ministers from across parties, as you heard, saying that this would hurt vulnerable South Africans and was not the best option. It was quite fascinating, just the timing of it. You recall, Naledi, that this is not the first time there was disagreement on how a budget is funded. The ANC ministers, when the ANC governed by majority, also in the past disagreed over certain elements of the budget. But the finance minister and Treasury has always been given autonomy to make these decisions, and cabinet always, fell in line. But this time, obviously, we have a government of national unities where 10 political parties are governing together, and that's why we saw the outcome that we saw yesterday.
Yeah, Qaanitah Hunter speaking to us there from outside the union buildings.